9 years ago, the Prime Minister promised that taxing and spending more would make everything fair. Since then, Canada's had the worst growth in the G7, the worst in Canada's history since the Great Depression. Housing costs have doubled, rising faster than any other G7 country. So 76% of youth believe they'll never be able to afford a home. 1 in 10 people are at eating at food banks in Toronto, where there are 256 homeless encampments. Haven't the Liberals learned that taxing away doctors, taxing away home builders, taxing away the entrepreneurs who make paychecks is economic wackoness?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Yeah, by putting us in trillions of dollars of debt. Mr. Speaker.
We all
Nailed it.
certainly learned something yesterday. After 8 weeks of dithering and evasion, we learned which side the Conservatives are on. They had a chance to be very clear and say a teacher or a welder should not pay tax at a higher rate than a multimillionaire. But they just couldn't help themselves. At the end of the day, the Conservatives are always on the side of those at the very top and always against working people. That's what we saw yesterday.
We contribute more to the interest of our debt than we do to health care.
The member mentions welders. Welders start businesses. Among the 300,000 small businesses that are targeted by this tax, according to the minister's own published documents. So those welders will pay a 66% tax on their investments, the same welders that build the homes that we're going to need.
Order. I'm having trouble hearing the question. I'm having trouble hearing the answer. So I'm going to ask honourable members to allow the questions and answers to happen.
Hey, at least he didn't mute the mic.
Well, from the top, the Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the member mentions welders. Welders incorporate. They start small businesses, welding businesses that build things, welding products that go into apartment complexes in which people live. So when the member taxes the small businesses that help us build the housing, she not only kills jobs for those welders, she actually kills housing when we are in a housing shortage. How could the minister possibly think it's a good idea to tax home building in a housing crisis and farmers in a food crisis?
He's fucking dumb, that's why. She's got some loose screws.
I'm going to ask for the quiet in return. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, well, for one thing, the Conservative leader should get his facts straight. Of course, what we are talking
That's homophobic.
about is a 2/3 inclusion rate.
Liberals don't give straight facts.
2/3 tax rate. But he never bothers to actually get his numbers straight. What he
Homophobic again.
doesn't bother to do is to actually stand on the side of working people. He has been faking his support for workers, but yesterday workers learned where he really stands, and that is not with them.
That's right. That's for sure.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, taxing farmers during a food crisis, taxing home builders during a housing crisis, taxing away doctors during a healthcare crisis, and taxing small businesses during an economic growth crisis is economic vandalism and nothing less, Mr. Speaker. That is precisely why this minister has given us the worst growth in the G7, the worst growth for the next 40 years projected for the OECD, and 256 homeless encampments in her hometown. Isn't that the predictable result of her disastrous policies?
This doesn't affect millionaires as much as it affects everyday people.
Mr. Speaker,
One good investment.
average income.
All the money goes to this
Because
wicked
I
witch.
do. It is $58,400. The average person in Ottawa, Carleton, could only dream of earning $250,000 in a given year. But the Conservative leader thinks his average constituent should pay tax on their hard-earned salary at a higher rate than someone who is earning more than $250,000 in capital gains alone. Who is he really on?
What is she talking about? It's not for... What? You make a good investment and all that money goes to these morons.
The Bloc is now condemning the same tax increase that they just voted in favor of. Mr. Speaker,
You can't make this shit
it
up.
seems that they are changing their position.
That welders won't have to pay this tax. Only the 0.13% wealthiest. Well, all the economists contradict that. The fact that she has 300,000 businesses that she admits will be taxed and all of their owners will be taxed contradicts that as well. So there's one way we could solve this controversy. Will she commit to put in law that no one in the bottom 99.87% will pay any new taxes?
Hey, there you go. Pierre thinking of all the loopholes.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, to go, the leader of the opposition already
I'll make myself laugh.
demonstrated his financial illiteracy. He does not understand
That Canada has a AAA credit rating?
how rate works. But I want to offer him an opportunity to continue his economic education. Yesterday, the IMF published a report on the Canadian economy. The IMF commented on our capital gains move and said it makes the system more fair and also said it will have no impact on investment or productivity. That's the IMF, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader.
Sometimes I'm wrong.
Speaker, I think we should just let's put aside the disagreement and even the debate on this, and let's come to a resolution here that will bring a lot of calm to the millions of Canadians who are worried about their taxes going up. The minister claims that only the 0.13% wealthiest Canadians will pay. So why not just enshrine that in law? Will she commit today to pass an amendment to her tax bill stating that no one whose income is in the bottom 99.87% will pay any new taxes at all?
There you go. Mr. Speaker. Now she's going to say AAA credit rating.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I want to quote some interesting words that were stated in this House of Commons. Quote, the monstrous increases in capital gains are making the rich vastly richer and creating a kind of aristocratic feudal economy. Do you know who said that, Mr. Speaker? The member for Carleton. We agree the current system is unfair. We are pushing against it. What made the member, after 8 weeks of dithering, change his mind?
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, we're simply asking the minister to put her words into law. Okay? So she's claimed that no one who earns less than the top 0.13% of income in the country will be affected. So, once again, will she amend her bill to say that no one who is in the bottom 99.87% of income earners will pay any new tax increase whatsoever? Yes or no?
Put it in writing.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Let's go.
Mr.
Speaker.
Let's review what we've learned so far in question period today. First, the leader of the official opposition doesn't even understand how the capital gains inclusion rate works.
Yes, that's right.
That's a problem. Second,
big
the leader
problem.
of the official opposition disavows his own words in this House about capital gains. But probably the most important thing is that the average income in Carleton is $58,400. Their MP is not on the side of working people earning that wage in his own.
That's bottom line.
That is shameful.
He literally is. He's saying, put it in writing that you're not going to tax people who make that money.
Quoting right now from her own budget speech, where she said, for 99.87% of Canadians, there will be no extra capital gains tax. Okay, she put it in her speech. So why won't she put it in the law?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Oh! that question was directed towards Freeland, not you.
Order.
You catfish-looking motherfucker.
Alors.
Order.
L'honorable leader.
The Honorable Government House Leader.
For about 20 years, this leader has been skulking around this place without really much contact with the outside world. In the 9 years that they've been over there, they voted against a child benefit, a dental plan, a prescription drug plan, a child care plan. Every time Canadians look to that person to stand up for their interests, for fairness in Canada, that guy takes a seat, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Yes or no?
I see they've pulled the finance minister off the ice and answer a question. So she mentioned she won't guarantee in law that the bottom 99.87% of Canadians will pay nothing. So let's make it a little bit easier for her. She claimed that she doesn't want welders to have to pay more. Will she amend her bill to ensure that not a single welder anywhere in Canada will be forced to pay this tax increase? Yes or no?
Man, Pierre's thought of it all.
Honorable Minister.
Oh, the little chihuahua? Wow, they're just bringing everybody up against Pierre.
The more I stand here, the longer question period takes. Yeah,
The Honorable Minister of
Chihuahua's up.
We will take no less from these conservatives, Mr. Speaker.
That's his only talking point.
Generational fairness is key to Canadians, Mr. Speaker, and that's why in the last budget we presented measures, Mr. Speaker, measures to build this country, measures to invest in our economy, measures to invest in the middle class, measures to help Canadians, Mr. Speakers. And you know what? Our capital gains change will help Canadians. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, can you believe they voted against tax fairness, Mr. Speaker?
Shocking.
Against tax fairness, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we will fight for Canadians and we will fight for the middle class.
Half of them stand up. They're so uncoordinated.
Opposition.
Are they okay over there?
They're a little wacky.
I won't call them wacko, Mr. Speaker. That's unparliamentary. But a very simple question. And this is for the finance minister if she's not still in hiding. Very simple question. She said she doesn't want welders to have to pay more. Will she put an amendment in her tax bill saying that not one single welder will face a tax increase?
There you go.
Hey, quiet down. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Speaker, in any given year, 0.13% of Canadians will pay a modest increase in their taxable gains. But I hear the leader across who has never seen a support for a single Canadian that he is prepared to vote for, talking about sidelining people. He sidelines that entire caucus in every single question period. We hear from him yawning and misinformation all the time.
What are you talking about? It's caucus leader day, dumbass.
People over there.
What a moron! It's caucus leader day. That's why Pierre's talking.
Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of restaurant owners who will pay this tax increase on their very first dollar of investment gains that inside a company. That is a fact. So will who earn $58,000 a year? So simple question. If what I'm saying is wrong, there's a very simple solution. Will the minister commit to amending her bill to say that any retiring restaurant owner who's been earning $58,000 a year will be fully exempt from any of these tax increases?
The Honourable Minister of Finance and Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, there There was once a Conservative Prime Minister. His name was John Diefenbaker. He was from the prairies like me and like the Conservative leader. He set up a Royal Commission on Tax. And Ken Carter, who led that commission, said, memorably, a buck is a buck is a buck. He thought that all your income, whether it's a capital gain or you make it through hard work, should be taxed. But these Conservatives have shown their true colors. They are just not on the side of working people, and they're embarrassed.
Yeah. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
John Diefenbaker is from Saskatchewan, where there are lots of farmers. So the member won't commit
Turning it around on her again.
law to exempt carpenters or plumbers or retiring modest income independent restaurant owners. So, very simple question. Given that we're in a food price crisis, will the finance minister amend her proposal to say that no farmer will pay higher taxes under this plan?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is squirming. The Conservative leader is nervous. And I know why he's nervous, Mr. Speaker, because we presented him yesterday with a very clear choice. You could be on the side of someone who sweats every day, who earns all their money through their paycheck, or you can say someone who is earning in every single year more than $250,000 in capital gains. We know whose side we're on. Now we know whose side they're on too.
Yeah. The Honourable
A wonderful grandmother, 93-year-old Liz Diachin, is severing a few lots off of her longtime family farm to give them to her kids and grandkids so that they can have a place to live in this terrible housing crisis. She was surprised to learn she's going to be paying this latest Liberal tax increase. She was asked, "Are you rich?" She said, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm on a pension." Mr. Speaker, will the finance minister amend her bill so that low-income grandmothers who are passing on a little bit of land for their kids to live on will not be hit by this tax increase?
Nah, she don't care, man.
Finance Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I want to share another quote. The wealthiest 1% who own the most expensive and luxurious real estate and have in their portfolios the most stocks and bonds will continue to see their net worth expand, having done nothing, by the way, to deserve that expanded net worth. When they sell those assets, they accrue a capital gain. We think more of it should be taxed. That's a quote from the member from Carleton. But that was when he was being a fake populist.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, Liz Diachin is not among those wealthy 1% the member just described. She has a pension of probably, I'm guessing, $45,000 a year. She's a grandmother who's simply trying to sever off a few lots so that her kids and her grandkids can have a place to live. Those lots have enough value that they will be hit by capital gains tax, and they're over $250,000. So she will pay this. She will pay us the 66% tax. So, very simple question: will the minister amend the law so that this wonderful grandmother does not have to pay higher taxes?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I think the Conservative leader is a little bit confused because he seemed to think that those were my words I quoted. I was, in fact, quoting him.
So even if you've said that, he's not voted for that right now.
And their stock portfolios and luxury real estate. But that was back when the Conservative leader was pretending to be a friend of working people. He was pretending to be on the side of the little guy. Yesterday we learned that is just not true. But we are on the side of fairness.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is true that this government has unjustly enriched the wealthiest 1% with their inflationary policies.
Themselves.
So let's just make sure that no one else pays the bill for that. Will the minister accept an amendment to her proposal to ensure that the 99% of lowest income earners do not pay this tax increase, so this wonderful grandmother does not have to pay the bill.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
The leader opposite has spent the entire question period talking about electricians and farmers and fishers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Why does he say that like it's a bad thing? Drop some W's in the chat. What a moron. What a moron. Absolutely. Talking about regular Canadians. Yup. That's what it's about.
Yep.
Oh, these people are so dumb.
The Honourable Government.
I love it.
Start from the top.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The leader opposite cites electricians, carpenters, plumbers. Mr. Speaker, I come from family, as do many of us, of farmers and electricians and people who bring home a T4 slip at the end of the year. Those people who earn an honest paycheck, what do they expect from their government? They expect tax fairness. We are asking all those who pay who gain $250,000 on their investments in a given year, 0.13% of the population, to pay a little bit more. I don't know any electricians who are in that category, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Well, if that were true, then they would be prepared to put in writing in the law that no farmer, fisher, or electrician will pay any new tax under this increase. Will they?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
What will be in the law is that anyone who makes a capital gain over $250,000, the first $250,000 are exempt, 50% inclusion rate. Over $250,000 in a given year will pay 66%. That's less than Brian Mulroney asked them to pay, and it gets us closer to the fairness that who's asking for? The electricians, the farmers, the teachers, the nurses, the fishers, the people in Canada who expect us to stand up for tax fairness and against that!
Look at them. They're so uncoordinated. Half of them are up, half of them are down.